Warm greetings, Code Monkeys and fellow VEDSies. Welcome back to CodedLockFilms. Today, I want to talk to you about the Pokeymans. Like many people my age, when I was a kid, I loved Pokemon. I was all about Pokemon. I played the video games, I watched the show, I saw the movies, I even read the comic books. But the thing that I loved most about the Pokemans when I was a kid were the cards. Not so much collecting the cards, although that was certainly a part of it. What I really liked was playing the game. I loved playing the Pokemon trading card game. Huge chunks of my free time were either devoted to playing the game or building decks with which to play the game. I do not have many of my Pokemon cards anymore. I only have a very small amount of them. I have a big binder with a bunch of Pokemon cards. They are all very well preserved and very well taken care of. And I actually think it may be a full set. I need to go online and look this up. And if it is, that might be worth quite a lot. But of all the old decks that I made, I only have one left. And it is a Team Rocket themed deck. In this deck are the Pokemans that Team Rocket had at the time that this deck was made. Arbok, Weezing, Meowth, Victreebel, Lickitung, all that stuff. The reason I'm telling you this is because my godson recently visited me and I helped him build a Pokemon deck of his own. And for the first time in many years, I played the Pokemon trading card game. And I've got some issues with the way the game has evolved. Yeah, get it? Evolved? You see what I did there? My personal benchmark for what makes a good trading card game is that the game should be about 75% skill and strategy and 25% luck. There should always be a good element of luck in the game. And my problem with the Pokemon cards that I've seen in my godson's possession is that luck just isn't as much of a thing anymore.
Who's that Pokemon? Hey guys, just a quick interruption because I think this needs more clarification. The previous remarks are a little unclear given the rest of my review, so keep in mind that when I say luck isn't a thing, I mean luck in the sense of taking gambles and flipping coins, not in the luck of the draw sense. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Back to your regularly scheduled review. It's E.T.
Don't call me E.T.
In fact, there are a lot of things about Pokemon trading cards now that just don't seem to really be a thing. I mean, they're in the game, but there's no reason to use them. Let me explain what I mean. This Team Rocket deck is based around status effects, primarily poison. Almost every card in this deck is capable of inflicting some kind of status effect. Weepin' Bell can poison things, Coughing can poison things, Victreebel can do a thing called Acid, which makes it so your Pokemon can't retreat, well, your opponent's Pokemon can't retreat. Ekans can poison things, Persian can poison things, Arbok can poison things, Weezing can paralyze things or poison things, Lickitung can paralyze or confuse things. This is a status effects deck. And one thing that I want to make clear is that my godson and I played 3 games and I won 2 out of the 3 of them. The reason I tell you that is because I don't want you to think that I'm just complaining about the cards being overpowered because I lost, because I didn't. I lost once out of the 3 times that we played. But the cards in his deck are still really overpowered, and these were fairly common cards for the most part. For instance, the Victreebel that I have in this deck, which is a 3rd stage evolution, has 80 hit points. His Squirtle had 60 hit points. I mean, that's a little nuts. When I said before that status effects are barely a thing anymore, what I mean by that is they're a thing, they're in the game, but there's almost no reason to use them. Because individual Pokemon do so much damage now that there's no point trying to nickel and dime your enemy down with status effects. There's really no reason, at least not that I can see in the newer versions of the Pokemon card game, to do anything besides just focus on getting really big, really powerful blaster type Pokemon out there and just do crap loads of damage and mow through everything in your path. As a point of comparison, I got my old Pokemon binder out and we're going to compare my generation's Blastoise card to his generation's Blastoise card. This Blastoise has 100 HP, his had 120. My Blastoise's Hydro Pump requires 3 water energy cards. His Blastoise's Hydro Pump required 4 energies, but they were colorless. There could be any kind of energy attached to the Blastoise that you want, and it would work. The special effect of my Hydro Pump is that it does 40 damage regularly, but for every additional water energy attached to the Blastoise, it does an extra 10 damage. So if I had 4 water energies, it would do 40 damage plus an additional 10. And even that ability caps at 60 damage. His Blastoise's Hydro Pump did 60 damage minimum. Even if you had 4 fire energies attached to this Blastoise, it could use Hydro Pump doing 60 damage at minimum. His Blastoise still has the same effect where every additional water energy gives you 10 additional damage, but it doesn't cap out. You can add as many water energy cards to this Blastoise as you want, meaning you could get upwards of like 200 damage on every attack if you got enough energy. And if you use any water energy to fill the colorless energy slots, those count too. So if he were to power that Blastoise's Hydro Pump with water energies, he would be doing 100 damage flat, just for powering the move normally. And that just seems a little unbalanced to me. And it doesn't seem as fun because there's just not nearly as much strategy involved. And some of the cards are just straight up coddling the kid. Let me find a few examples in here. For example, this is a trainer card called Bill. If you play this, you're allowed to draw 2 cards from your deck. His generation's version of Bill lets you draw 3 cards. There's a trainer card called Pokeball. You flip a coin, and if heads, you can search your card for any Pokemon card you want and put it into your hand. His generation's version of this card, there's no coin flip. You just play it and take the Pokemon you want. There's hardly any coin flipping at all. It's just, it seems boring to me. There's no luck, there's no chance, there's hardly any strategy, or at least hardly any strategy beyond get out the big damage dealers. I'm not really sure what my point is other than, you damn kids! I guess it just kind of upsets me that when I played the Pokeymans, the game took you seriously. It was a simple game, but it had a lot of variation in the kinds of strategies you could use. The only reason this deck was able to beat my Godson twice is A, he wasn't very experienced at the game, and B, I got lucky. He just wasn't drawing his really powerful cards. If he'd have been drawing those cards, no brainer, he would have beat me all 3 times. And the second time I won was only by a very narrow margin. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that when you can take someone who has never played the game before and provide them with a deck that can very reliably and very easily beat someone who's been playing the game since they were a kid, there's a problem with the game's design. What I'm saying here is that when I was a kid, the Pokeymans treated you with some respect. They took you seriously. They trusted that you were able to think strategically. They trusted that you were able to build your own decks and understand why you built your decks the way you built your decks and understand why you would play your decks the way you played them. My Godson's Pokeymans, they just hand you the deck, here you go. It's all the same basic strategy, and that's just boring and disappointing to me. But that's pretty much all I have to say about it. So until next time, Code Monkeys and fellow VEDSies, I will see you tomorrow.